Well, welcome to today's workshop. My name is Paul Lewis. I'm the Director of Job Assistance with the People's Resource Center. We're really glad to have you all today. We're going to be talking about resumes versus robots. So just a couple guidelines for the presentation. If you could go ahead and mute yourself, that way we don't have any background noise. We'd love to see your face, so if you're comfortable turning on your video, we'd love to see you. It makes us easier. Makes it easier for us to present if we can see the faces of the people we're presenting to. We are recording this workshop today, so if you're not comfortable putting yourself on video, that's fine as well. If we have any questions, we are expecting around 10 people today, so if we do get to a bigger group, feel free to put your questions in the chat box, and we can answer them throughout the presentation. If not, we'll have time at the end to answer any questions that you might have regarding the material we present today. For the best viewing experience, we suggest doing the side-by-side mode. So if you just go to the top right-hand corner, go to View Options and hit side-by-side mode, that'll give you the ability to see the presentation and the people that you're presenting to. So that's sort of the best way to view these presentations. So everything that is said in this presentation is confidential. So we did say that we are recording it. It might go out to a couple different people, but we're not sharing anything externally with what is discussed during this presentation. So and obviously we really appreciate the support we get from Karen and the Downers Grove Public Library as well. A little bit of background on the People's Resource Center if you're unfamiliar with what we do. We offer a variety of different services to our clients living in DuPage County. Our biggest operation is our food pantry, which runs out of our Wheaton and Westmont locations. Right now it's a no-touch model 4 times per week. It's a curbside pickup model. If you're familiar with that, you just pull up your car, they drop in the food and you're on your way. That will be changing very soon, as we're kind of in the process of developing plans to resume normal operations as to how things were pre-pandemic, but we're still kind of in that transition phase. So many of our programs are still virtual. Our offices are still closed to the public right now. So just keep a look on our website as that might change over the next few weeks. We also offer a variety of empowerment services. We have our computer training and access program, which is also a great supplement to our job assistance program. We have our adult learning and literacy, our art studio, and our social services program, which offers a variety of different assistance options to PRC clients. And then, of course, our job assistance program, which we will talk about here in a little bit. If you're unfamiliar, I always like to talk a little bit about our computer training program. So if you are currently a PRC client or thinking about becoming a PRC client, our computer training program is a great supplement to our jobs program. It gives you the ability to take classes on a variety of really beneficial computer programs that are often used in the workplace. Microsoft Office, I think is probably the biggest one, and we actually offer the ability to get an MOS certification. And we have some different options. You can take live classes with a PRC trainer, or you can. There's also an option to be able to do that as like a self-paced option as well. So there's a lot of different options for you if you're interested in kind of brushing up your computer training skills, and these are really great things to put on your resume as well. A little bit of information about our job assistance program. We offer a variety of different options. We kind of meet clients where they're at. So in their job search, which I think is really great and a really unique kind of thing. So there's no curriculum or like no certain steps that you have to go through. So basically, as a job assistance client, you work with one of our job coaches, and we can work with you on a variety of different things. If you just need your resume and cover letter updated, we have a great resume and cover letter team that can help you get that updated. Your jobs coaches can help you with anything from mock interviews, going over different questions that you're going to be asked in an interview and how to answer them. They can help you identify different online tools for your job search. They can help you assess your skills and abilities and help you find a job or a career that could be a good fit for you. They can go through how to fill out an application online. Anything that you really need, our job coaches are experts in how to help you with your job search. We also offer some skills assessment tests, which are really great. They cover a wide range of different industries and careers, and it's basically a test that you can take to see whether or not you're job ready for a career in that specific industry. It's a really great tool that you can also, if you get a high score, something you can put on your resume. It's a pretty well-respected company that we work with, so those scores go a long way. So it's a really great free tool that we use for our job clients. We also offer different workshops like this throughout the month. So we partner with a lot of different libraries throughout DuPage County and offer a lot of different workshop topics. So if you like what you hear today, there's other workshops that we offer throughout the month at different libraries all over DuPage County. They're all virtual right now, but again, as we start resuming normal operations, we're going to start holding these workshops in person as well, probably some level of hybrid. We also have a online job board. So I work or I have connections with a lot of different employers in DuPage County, and they tend to send me weekly jobs that are open with those employers. And those are not necessarily jobs that they're posting on those popular job board websites like Indeed. Sometimes they're just things that they're sending me that are internal. So this is a really great tool for you to use if you're looking for different jobs that could be available near you. It cover a wide range of employers and industries. So it's not just one industry or one different skill level. We have job openings kind of all over the place, and it's pretty varied. So and this is free to people that are PRC clients, but also if you're not a PRC client, you can still access the job board as well. And so there's a login and password, and I have that information below. And we can talk about that at the end if you want me to leave that up there if people want to write that down. So now I'm going to turn it over to Charles. He's one of our job coaches, and he's going to talk to you today about resumes versus robots.
All righty. Thank you, Paul. Well, welcome, everyone. Appreciate your attendance at this workshop, and I think it will be helpful. Let's start out. What's a resume? Well, resume is a sales presentation. Think about that as you go through your job search. So resume is a piece that you put together marketing yourself. What is the robot? The robot is software that can let your resume go through to the employer or kill it in midstream. Kind of like on my phone now, I have something that's called a spam thing, and it rings once and it disappears. That's kind of like what the software is for your resume. So that's what we're talking about today. But let's start out. We're in the digital age where there's still a lot of paper out there, but we are in the digital age. And job searching is no longer driving up and down the street looking for help wanted signs. It's going to the internet, and it's pretty easy.
It feels like it's already here, but
I know.
it is.
I know.
Can you mute everybody?
Sure, Pam. I think.
Oh, I'm so
I think
sorry.
you're right. If you could mute yourself, sorry.
I am so sorry.
Oh, no,
Sure.
that's okay. No problem. Anyway, the good news, yes, it's easy. You can click on any of these aggregator sites such as Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and get a lot of jobs. But the not so good news, you are competing with a lot of people from all over the country, quite honestly. People can apply for jobs here in the Chicago area from California. They could be anywhere. And I think this last number is a little low. Average corporate job posting receives 250 applicants, probably more. Kind of scary, but it is what it is. We have to recognize reality and deal with it. And that's what we hope this workshop will help you understand. Not everything about it, but at least get you going in the right direction. Next page. All right. The hiring manager. Today, if you assume you're a recruiter or you're a hiring manager, you have 250 resumes in front of you. Well, I wouldn't want that job. That's an awful lot of resumes to read and decide who you're going to contact. So what is this robot, this call it software? What does it do? It eliminates it, whittles it down. And 75%, and this is true, people apply for jobs. There's one click apply on many of these aggregator sites where you upload your resume and you do a one-click apply. Very easy to do. So what is that? What happens? A lot of people click on things they're not qualified for. So 75% of people that are applying for these jobs, they're not qualified for them. And when they when your resume does get past this initial software, the robot, how long does the HR person spend on your resume? Here's a little scary thing. Studies suggest 6 seconds reading each resume. Pretty scary. What does that mean? It means if you've got a 6-page resume, probably won't get read. If you've got a resume with a lot of what they're looking for, and we'll get into the details, it will stand a chance. 6 seconds, make it or break it. So we're here to help you to be in the make it crowd. Next page. All right. Yeah, I've job coaching for a number of years, and I hear this all the time. Well, I applied for 10 things and I never heard back from any of these companies. It just disappeared. Yeah, well, that's they do disappear. If it is weeded out by that spam killer, by the resume killer called the applicant tracking system. There's a mouthful for you. Applicant tracking system. Companies do use this. About 90% of companies use it. So that's what you want to get past. If you don't, you're probably not going to hear much of anything from the company. Technology, resumes are tossed. I've already discussed that before they're seen by human eyes. It's just too much. Why do companies use it? Well, it weeds out the 75% that aren't qualified, and it makes their HR people more efficient and able to concentrate on those that are qualified. Next. Okay, I already gave you away the big word, applicant tracking system. It's what I've just been saying all along, and I like to be a little repetitive because that's how we learn. I know 1 time doesn't stick with me, 2 times a little better, 3 times it kind of gets in the brain. So applicant tracking system, that's the robot. That's the filter, the scan, the spam on our phones, when the call comes up, spam, well, that's what happens to your resume if it's not applicant tracking system compliant. And that's where we're going forward from here. Next. All right. Well, I don't want to put you to sleep, so I'm not going to read this whole Wall Street Journal article. Pretty much what I said. The first bullet, the first thing, this is what's interesting. Many times there's a job opening and the company maybe they have worked with the government, for example, or whatever. They have to meet what's called equal employment opportunity requirements, which means they need to, can't always be the boss's golfing partner that gets hired. So they will say, well, we're going to interview 10 people. Sometimes companies do know in advance who they're going to hire, and they can collect interviews and resumes to fulfill that. So there can't be, somebody can't come back in and say you didn't interview enough people, or the process wasn't fair. So it can happen. I'm not going to deny that. Hopefully it won't happen to you. Number 2, applications or submissions 24 hours. Companies may put a post out there on their website and 24 hours take it down. Why? Because they've already got 500 applications or 500 people that are interested in the job, 500 resumes maybe. I will tell you, the aggregators, and I'll just generalize aggregators, that's the big companies that post jobs that you may go to, they're not always up to date. You'll often, if you click on that, you'll find this job has been filled or no longer available. That's pretty common because they can get filled pretty quickly. And number 3 talks about your resume has to be customized to meet job requirements. We'll talk more about that. That's matching your skills and your soft skills and your hard skills. Your hard skills are things like your computer expertise. If you're a carpenter, your ability to wield a hammer, that's a hard skill. Along with your soft skills, which are your people skills, your communication skills, your problem solving skills. Those are soft type skills. But companies want people that have the skills they need. So matching it, we're going to speak more about that later on. And that's about it. If your candidates think they're hitting a brick wall, then yeah, you can. So here's how you go ahead and beat the bots. All right, ATS safe resume, ATS, that's applicant tracking system, safe resume. Review your format. We're going to get more into this. Review your format, headings, fonts, keywords. I just alluded to that, matching your keywords with what the employer is looking for. That we will get more and more into as we go down this workshop. Next page. All right, formatting. There are different varieties of resumes you can use. There's one that's called chronological. That's by date. That would be where you have a summary statement followed by maybe you had 3 jobs in the last 10 years and you list the jobs. That's chronological. Functional is not used as often, but that is it's more skills related. For example, if you had your own business and or you were out of the workforce for a number of years, you might think along this skills related or functional, skills and accomplishments. And there can be a mix of the two, quite honestly, the combination as we mentioned there. Bullet points. You want, it's not on here, but you want a lot, maybe it'll come up later. You want a lot of white space. Bullet points. You don't want a sentence with 75 words in it. Okay. You don't want a sentence with 35 words, too long. Bullet points. And I know it's not grammatical sentence, but use bullet points. Keep it short. Headers and footers. Those are those lines at the top and bottom. I get nervous when I see lines that go all the way across on any resume because the applicant tracking system may not recognize it. It may get confused with those lines. So skip those lines. 10-year focus on the last 10 years of employment. Yes, some of us can go back decades. You don't want to do that. You want to concentrate what you've done in the last 10, maybe 15 years. And if you have skills from something you did 20 or 30 years ago, I think that's great, but those skills can be addressed in a cover letter possibly. And in a cover letter, it's a short letter that kind of says what isn't in your resume, or like, why should you read my resume? Here's a few teaser points. That's what a cover letter is. So 10 years, avoid old or irrelevant details, outdated terminology, easy to use, outdated technology. And if you're speaking with somebody that's a lot younger than you, they're going to date you by the words you use. So be careful with that. Omit lines, I spoke about that. Logos, pictures, symbols, and shading. So you may have a great picture, a headshot of yourself that you paid somebody to take. I like those shots, but you can't use them in a resume. It won't work. The ATS will not read that. And if you don't, I will tell you this, you can have the greatest resume in the world, but if it doesn't get past that ATS, it's of no value to you for that position. Next. All right, standard at PRC, we like to go with the standard things, okay? And these are the standard ones. Summary, what is a summary statement? A summary is a few lines, not 20 or 30 lines, a few lines of copy that maybe highlights, again, to catch the attention of the employer, why should you keep reading? Well, my last position at ABC company, I instituted a program that saved costs, 50% in costs were reduced 50%, anything like that, achievements, accomplishments. We can also speak to, I have 15 years of experience as a business analyst, that's fine too. Then you go from there into the work experience. And the work experience, we'll talk about that more in detail. That should be your company, what your title was, and then what did you accomplish or what did you achieve at that company? I'll give you an easy example. If somebody was a server at a restaurant and their resume comes across and says, yes, I took dishes from the kitchen and put it on the tables of the patrons at the facility, at the place where I work, like, oh, that's a duty. Loading the machine with copy paper, that's a duty. Putting paper clips or filling the staplers, and I'm being very simple here, obviously, just to kind of poke fun at it. Duties, they could be much more involved, but they're still a duty. So You really don't want to concentrate on the duties, because if you're applying as a business analyst, they know what is the person reading it knows what a business analyst does. Okay, and if you just list what the person does, that's not a good thing. So achievements and that, and we'll get more into that. If you have volunteer military experience, wonderful, put it on there. Education is certainly critical. Again, be careful. If you're a recent college graduate, I would say nothing wrong with putting dates. But if your education is in the past, more than 10 years, it might be good to leave off dates. You don't need dates on that. What you do need dates on are your companies you work for, and we'll get more into that. Career objective, people used to use this instead of summary. Career objective says, I desire a position as a business analyst, and a few extra lines. So that's kind of outdated. And qualifications or skill summary with keywords. I don't know why we keep coming back to this keywords, but it must mean something. It must be critical. Otherwise, the team at PRC wouldn't have kept putting this word keywords in. So keep that in mind. Keywords are huge, very, very huge. And you don't need this standard thing at the bottom of your resume, references available upon request. And by no means do you want to put references on a resume. I have seen that. You don't want to do that. Next. Okay, font. That is the style of the print from your computer. Pretty simple. There are modern and there are older fashioned fonts. Some have tails and little hooks at the end of the letters, and you'd recognize it if you saw it. Contemporary fonts are those that we have listed there. Arial, Calabria, Helvetica, Verdana. Sorry if I mispronounced those, but simple plain fonts. You don't want the ones in cursive or the really cute ones. And I know you may think, well, it'll make my resume stand out. No, actually, it'll get your resume trashed. So stay away from that. And bolding is okay for maybe here's a company I work for. That's a heading for that company, and then your position underneath. Your name up at the top can be bold if you like, and again, not size 22 or 24 font. It's going to be the smaller ones, 10, 12, 16, 18 for the big ones. And why don't you want giant fonts? Well, again, you want to keep your resume to a reasonable page limit. And I know talking about pages on a computer might seem silly, but the more information, the more pages you have involved, the less likely somebody is going to want to read it, quite frankly. So just don't go crazy with the font sizes. Next. All right, here's a simple thing, and I see this on the initial resumes that clients send to me. I see this just about 90% of the time, where they'll have the company, they'll have their position, and then they'll say December 2015 - January 2019. Wrong. That's going to get killed. It's not going to go through. It's got to be that simple 2-digit for the month, 4-digit for the year, with a backslash and a hyphen in between there. Except when you're still there, you can put, this person was there from 2012 to present, fine, put present afterwards, that's fine to do. But any of these others, and I've seen them all, and they come across with 1 digit, they come across with the dates they started. Whether you started the 5th or the 15th is not going to make any difference. So just stick again with the month and the year in the right format. So nothing more I can say about that. So we'll move on to the next. Okay, wow. I hope you're not getting bored. Keep seeing this keyword out there, but we're driving it home. And I know Paul, when he picks up, he's going to hit you with it again. So it's important. Okay, match resume keywords exactly. Where do you get these resume keywords? Well, the keywords are found typically in the job description that you see for the company. By the way, real quick, here's a bonus that we don't usually cover in the workshop. And if you find a job on any of these aggregators that, let's say you lived in Downers Grove and it's Good Samaritan Advocate Hospital, go to their website. And if you are interested, apply on their website, by the way. All right, so anyway, you get the skills and qualifications from that job description. And let's say that the word good listener is in a job description 5 times, and maybe it's a call center. Do you want to hire somebody for a call center that's on the phone all day listening to people and they're not a good listener? I don't think you would. So that would be a keyword possibly for a call center, good listener. If it's there 5 times, you better wake up, and hopefully you have that skill as a good listener and you put it in your resume if it isn't in there already. And we're not telling you to put skills or soft or hard skills that you don't have. No, that's not gonna last long. So if you have the skill and it's on the job description, put it in your resume. That's really what we're saying here. And keywords should be formatted to match the original job description exactly. So if it's good listener, sticking with that example, what if I put, well, I don't like the word good listener. How about I say smart listener or obedient listener or sometimes listener? No, you've got to match it up exactly. And why? Because again, this ATS, the ATS will be looking for those key phrases and information related to those qualifications. The way they do it, and 90% of companies use this ATS, they have the job description in this computer program. And when your resume comes in, it matches it up against it. That's how the computer knows. Well, good listener, Paul doesn't have it in his resume. So the computer is not human. It just shunts it off in the never, never world. That's how they do it. So if the computer is matching it up, doesn't it make sense? The ATS is matching up that you should do it in advance of sending it to the ATS. That's what we're trying to get across here. Key phrases, information, use the acronym and spelled out form. And we have a short quiz that Paul will give you later on. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and give you an example. There's an example, CPA, Certified Public Accountant. A lot of times I will see resumes that start out, well, I'm, skills, hard skills, and they've got MS Word, MS Excel, which was the old abbreviation for Microsoft, MS. Well, I'll tell you what, that computer, that ATS system doesn't have it coded in to look for MS Word, it's looking for Microsoft Word. So spell it out on your resume. If you want to put it an abbreviation afterwards, like they do with CPA, that's fine too. If you can, aim for repeating important keywords 2 to 3 times. And Paul will show you a neat tool that you can use to determine which are the key words that you want to get into your resume. Next. All right, keywords. And here's some examples. That's all we have here. Administrative assistant keywords, and these are great. Management skills. Here would be some typical things that the employer may have. Can you control expenses? Do you have management skills? Do you know how to prioritize work? Do you have problem solving skills? Administrative, and I'm not going to read the whole laundry list, but you can get the idea. For administrative, what's going to be important? Accuracy, adaptability, attention to detail, confidentiality, MOS, Microsoft Office Suite. By the way, PRC, another plug for PRC, their computer, our computer area has classes that you can get a certification at no cost for that MOS, Microsoft Office Specialist certification. So I'll look into that. And then again, you can read yourself, you're all capable of reading. Organizational, some examples, what might be in the resume, keywords, and communication skills. There's a little different one. Phone manners, customer service, excellent command of English language. These are keywords that you might see in an administrative assistant keyword. Here's another suggestion for you. And it's, again, this is a bonus, kind of like one of those add-ons to the movies that you get on a DVD. Go to onetonline.org, and it's the letter 1, onetonline.org. And that's a government tool, Bureau of Labor Statistics, where you can put in administrative assistant. That'll give you a 20-page description of skills and abilities, things you need for that job. That can help you with keywords, and you can get keywords that you never thought about. So there's a little bonus, onetonline.org. Next. All right. Okay. As I told you, I was in sales, so I keep referring to the resume as a sales presentation. It is. Don't kid yourself, it is. If you get a sales presentation by email, let's say email today, and it's got words in there that are really sleepy and dull, is that going to excite you to buy the product or service? No. You want action words like, this is going to change your life. That's the kind of words. If you hire me, here's what's going to happen. I've got, some really action words. I'm not going to put you to sleep reading my resume. So active words, and these are great words: achieved, conducted, generated, managed, presented. Those are saying, my last employer, I achieved this. I achieved a cost reduction. I conducted a meeting with 500 people. We'll talk more about using metrics, numbers. I generated more sales volume or in my 6 months than people typically did in a year. Generated, and it can be used in any profession. I managed. I've seen, I had a client recently that says, well, I managed a group of people, and I'm thinking like 2 or 4 or 5. So I said, and that's what it said in the person's resume. I managed a team. Okay. I asked how many in the team? 75. I almost fell over. Well, 75, managing 75 people, that's tough. I mean, you've got to really be good to manage a big group of people. So we changed the resume, and that metric of 75 went in the resume. Presented, I presented to large audiences, video presentations for our company, anything like that. And here's more examples, and you can read them yourself. And it's just what I've been saying: managed 25-person real estate office, achieved 25% increase, conducted training. A lot of times employees do training for other employees, and they don't realize that that's a skill that they have. So that things like that will be great to get in there. Next. All right, metrics, numbers. Numbers are a great thing. It says a lot more. Like this person that I assumed, if I was an employer, managed a team, I'm going to think like, yeah, a person of 5 team maybe, which is not uncommon. You can see the difference when this person managed 75 people. That's a metric you want in there. And actually you want metrics wherever you can use them. And here's some examples: measurable proof. Whenever you can use the numbers, the percentage and dollar signs, do it. And I know it's not possible in all positions, but there are examples, things you can do. Resolved 100% of customer complaints. Okay, created 3 new programs. Maybe this is something that you could have done in an administrative position. I'm not sure. Received team lead award for 100% on-time attendance. Quickly responded to customer needs by answering 99% of incoming calls before 3 rings. Trained 20 sales representatives in new data process entry, which resulted in $50,000 savings. That last one, if I took out the 20 and the 50,000, here's how dull it's going to sound. Trained sales representatives in new data entry process, which resulted in savings at first quarter of use. What does that mean? I don't know. It halfway put me to sleep. But when I see the 20 and then I own the company or I'm the HR person, I'm saying, well, you saved your company 50,000. Yeah, let's keep talking. If you save them 50,000, maybe you can do the same thing for me. That's why companies employ people, by the way, to create, could be create profit, could be to create efficiency, to make it a better company in whatever aspect you're doing. So that's the idea there. Next. All right, I've already covered this, so I'll go briefly on this. Accomplishments versus job duties. Job duties, that just says what you did. Achievements and accomplishment tells you how you did it, that you did it better than expected, that you achieved something, you accomplished something. And again, simple thing, it was on the last slide, so I won't be repetitive. Call center, you answered 99% of calls before 3 rings. You can see how that can catch the person in HR. Remember, 6 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, how many ever seconds, you've got to hook the person into continuing to say, yes, Catherine is the one I want to work, that I'm going to do a phone interview with. Pam is the one that has accomplishments here, and Pam is the one I'm going to be contacting. So anyway, spelling errors. Yeah. I assume all of us have access to Word or something that shows misspellings. Don't send a resume out with spellings and then put in their attention to detail or, oh, yeah, I'm very accurate, but I can't even spell check my own resume. Don't do that. Proofread your resume once, twice, forwards, backwards, have somebody else do it. Hopefully you get involved with a coach at PRC, have the coach do it, have our resume writers do it. We even have a person at PRC, that's their job, proofreading resumes, believe it or not, because you don't get a second chance. If your resume is misspelled or something wrong grammar, that may be the death knell for your dream job. Next. All right, we talked about this a little bit, resume formats, MS Word or PDF. Well, you can, it should be text-based, which MS Word and PDF are. You can use that, either one. You can use a PDF, you can use a Word document, and I can't imagine that a file would be bigger than 5 megabytes. I mean, that's more like a picture size, 5 megabytes. So just check, make sure it isn't 20 megabytes for some minute, because these ATS systems, they also, if you have a 50-page resume, it probably isn't going to accept it. It's too big. And the last point, if you're emailing a resume, use PDF. And why? Because on the other end, the person getting it, if it's a PDF, they're pretty comfortable downloading that. So that's the point on that. Next. All right, and I know this is hard to read, but here's a little quiz for you. Will this resume pass the ATS? And this is Mary Smith, and she's got an objective section, and oh, I like those lines in there, how nice. And here's her objective. I want to work in a professional office with kind people. I am 30 or 50 years old, can't read, that's my poor eyes, I can't tell you if it's 30 or 50, whatever. She's got her age in there, and I like working with people to solve their problems. I am dedicated and a team player. Summary is something similar. She's got reception and customer service experience. I know how to do Word and somewhat know Excel and Office. That's pretty interesting. Pays, and then a few spaces later, pays attention to document detail. And then her work experience. And again, January to 2010. Is that resume going to pass? We would do a show of hands, but we won't do that. No, she's got a poor Mary needs to go back to the drawing boards on this one and learn what ATS is and talk more about accomplishments. Don't put your age in there. They don't want to put, that's something you certainly don't want to do, is put your age in a resume. Or you want to put as a summary, yep, I need a job, therefore I want to work for your company. That's not a relevant thing. So let's move to a better example. Here's a ATS compliant resume. And again, you can see the type is readable. You can not the fancy type or simple type that's easy to read. And summary, not objective. Dedicated bilingual professional, and the rest of it reads pretty good. Accomplished in Microsoft Office, spelled out, not MS. Has strong attention to documents detailed. No misspellings that I can see in here. Excellent verbal and written communications. Looks good. DuPage work experience, DuPage Community College, 01 backslash 2010 to present. That's fine. Bullet points, and again, bullet points, you don't need sentences underneath your work experience. Use bullet points, but again, try to do it with achievements or accomplishments if you can, rather than work duties. And she's got some good verbs here. These are verbs that'll wake you up if you want to hire somebody that knows what they're doing. Processed, student registration. Coordinated, class schedules. Accurately processed. Determined. Attended. Appointed. What's the common denominator? Verbiage, action words. It says, I did something. I didn't just show up and did the minimum to get paid. I was on my feet. I thought about what I was doing and I got it done. So that's what an ATS compliant resume would look like. And we can move on to the next page. All right. Some of you, probably all of you, have started to look and seeing these job descriptions. And these, and Paul will pick up on the next page, but this is where you're going to get your keywords. This is what's going to tell you what the job is. And I will tell you this, job descriptions are typically 1, maybe 2 pages at the most on the websites. If you go to that onetonline.org, you can probably really drill down to what do people really do in that job description. That's really where you want to go to. So I'd recommend look at the job description, but also put that job description, and it's easy to use, that onetonline.org. And it's a free thing, by the way. It's US government. They don't try to upgrade you to premium versions or anything like that. So anyway, job description speaks for itself. And with that, Paul is going to jump in and take over.
Thanks so much, Charles. Really appreciate your knowledge and passing it along to everybody. So now we're going to talk a little bit about tag crowds. So Charles mentioned before that there's some different websites available for you to kind of compare the job description for the job that you're applying for to your resume to kind of see what those keywords are to make sure that those keywords exist in your cover letter and resume. So I think probably one of the most popular websites to do that is a website called Tag Crowd. So it's and it's completely free, which is really great. And all you do, it's really simple. So when you go to Tag Crowd, it kind of gives you a blank space, and from there you can post the job description, or you can copy the job description, and you can also copy your resume on the website, and then you can hit visualize. And what will pop up are the words in the job description that show up the most frequently. So and it does it in kind of this very visual way. So for example, you see like administrative is sort of like the biggest word on that page. So it notes that was seen in the job description 9 times, or if college was in there 5 times. Assistant, data, those are words that show up pretty frequently. So this will kind of give you a visualization of what are the certain skills or what are sort of those keywords or functions that that job requires for the person that's going to fill that role. So this will give you the opportunity to kind of go in and look at your resume and say, hey, do I match, do the keywords in my resume sort of match the keywords in that job description. So that gives you the ability to kind of go back in and tweak your resume or tweak your skills so it better matches the job description and gives you a better chance of passing the applicant tracking system. So one thing to note here is you never want to falsify your skills or experience. So if you go in and you see that, it's the keywords kind of match all of these different skills that I don't have, maybe that's an indication that this job might not be the best fit for you. So what I would not encourage you is to kind of go back in and tweak your resume to the point where it almost falsifies the experience that you have, just so you can pass the applicant tracking system. So that's not something that you should do, but this will give you a really good idea as to whether or not this is a good fit for you, or if it just shows like, hey, looking at this, I actually do have this experience, but I might just need to go back in and tweak my resume a little bit so it makes me stand out when I apply for this job. So, Tag Crowd is a really great tool to use, and I pretty much recommend it for any job that you're applying for. And something that Charles has said before, when you're applying for a job, it's better to apply for one job correctly as opposed to just, hitting, those one-click applies for like 50 jobs all at once, because you're not taking the time to kind of go in and see if that job description matches the skills that you actually have. So this is just kind of an example of we were talking about Mary's resume, and this is basically just kind of like plugging in the job that she was applying for and plugging it into Mary's resume, so you can kind of see some of the different skills that matched up to the job description to Mary's resume. So you can kind of see that administrative, college, documents, those all appear in Mary's resume as well. So you see that there's a lot of highlighted red on both pages. So this is a pretty good indication that she might be a good fit for that role, and this might be a job that she wants to apply for. So then she can kind of go back and say, hey, are there any other big pieces of the puzzle that I'm missing? I have the administrative skills. I have college experience. I have experience working with different documents. So this could be a good indication that this is a good fit for me, but let me go back into my resume and see if there's anything else I can kind of change in my resume to even make me stand out in a pool of applicants better. So not only is there TagCrowd, there's a couple other websites that do the same thing. I mean, I personally like TagCrowd. I just think it's a little bit easier and a bit more visually pleasing, but there's a couple other websites that do something similar, and they all kind of do the same thing with a little, everything is a little bit different, but I would encourage you to try out all of these different websites and kind of see which one is your preference, and use that with your job search moving forward. So a couple other things to note, the hiring process is still human. I think one of our other workshops even mentions that something like, Charles, I think it's like 80% or 90% of the jobs that are filled are never even posted online, and all the hiring is done through networking. It's through people you know. So I think this is really important.
You're right. It's actually 85%. You were half right.
85. Okay, there you go. 85.
But no, it's true. The jobs you see posted out there are not 100% of jobs. Think about it from the company standpoint. If you work in HR and there's 200 people working there, well, you send a little email out to them and said, we'd like to hire somebody for an executive administrative position with our company. Well, those people think like, well, I have a friend that just left that position, may talk with them. And that person would say, I spoke with such and such person at your company. I will tell you, that'll open a door. Paul knows I recently had somebody that had a resume that was sent to a company. I'll make it quick, but the resume went out to this company several times with no response. Well, this person knew somebody in that field and asked them to send the resume on their behalf. Guess what? That person got the job. So networking is very, very important. And we have a workshop on that. The coaches can help you with that, but networking is very, very important to let people know, people that can possibly help you, that are happy to help you, quite frankly, to achieve a career where you're going to get some satisfaction. On that note, I'll turn it back to you, Paul.
Sure. Thanks, Charles. And yeah, so if you need a little bit of help with networking, obviously, I always recommend becoming a PRC client in our jobs program. But, LinkedIn is another really important tool that you can use to find old coworkers or, find networks of people that might be involved in jobs or industries that you're interested in. And LinkedIn is a great tool. We actually do have a really great workshop on that too. So if you're not familiar with that, I'd keep a little lookout for that workshop as well, because it is really helpful. And we do have a LinkedIn expert on our team of job coaches as well. So, but just, quick thing to note, even though you get past the applicant tracking system, you're still going to have to sell yourself in the interview. So, you might start off with getting a phone screen, or, I think these virtual video interviews are here to stay too. I don't think those are going to be going away. So it's really important that once you kind of get past the applicant tracking system, that you're qualified for the job. Now you need to practice, selling yourself, in person in order to get the job as well. So Sort of as we wrap up, just a couple quizzes here. We'll just kind of go over the questions, and I can just kind of give you the answers just for the sake of time. That way we have the ability to take any questions that people have at the end. So number one, which heading will get your resume through the ATS? Obviously with A, we have the pictures. B, we have kind of all the different colors and all the different fonts. And C, we have just a very basic, very plain resume. So obviously the answer is C. So going back and saying that, in order to get past the applicant tracking system, you want to keep your resume sort of as plain and as plain, and I would say plain, but not dull, but just keeping it at the same font and just keeping it very plain and simple. And that's most likely the one that's going to get past the applicant tracking system. Number two, how many major companies use the ATS to scan and filter resume submissions? So obviously we talked about this at the beginning. It's the majority of companies. You're looking at almost 90% of companies are using this to find the right candidates. What are the best methods to get a job? Applying for Indeed, walking into a company and personally delivering your resume, receiving a referral from an employee that applies directly to the company's website. All are options that you can do. I don't know many companies that actually allow people to walk in and personally deliver their resume nowadays. I think mostly they'll just tell you to go to the website, but C is the best way. As Charles and I were saying, networking is the most common way to get a job. But also, as Charles was saying, applying to the company, like on the company website directly, is going to get you noticed quicker than if you were applying on a job from Indeed. Indeed sometimes too, like they, when you're applying to the company, it might reformat your resume. It kind of comes in a little bit different than what it would if you're applying at the company website. And also, I think a lot of companies appreciate you kind of going to the website, kind of looking over the company, so that way they know that you did your research prior to applying to that company. So that's the way that I'd recommend doing it. Oh, and it gives us the answers here. What is the best font to use when submitting a resume online? We talked about keeping it simple and not using anything that's too crazy or too artistic, and just keeping it simple. So from that case, it would be A for Arial. Number 5, you should send your resume as a PDF or Word to employers. In this case, I would recommend, as Charles was saying, you probably want to post it as a PDF. That way, when you're sending it to the company, that it's not reformatting your resume or, not all, depending on the companies, some people might not, have access to Microsoft Word on their computer, so they might open it up. The formatting might be wrong, or they might not be able to open it as easily. So rule of thumb, send it over to the company as a PDF. But sometimes, it might say when you're applying for a job, you can send it over in a Word format as well. So, some of the applicant tracking systems or those HR programs that they use do have Word. So if it says to send it over in Word, you can go ahead and do that. But if it doesn't say anything, I think the rule of thumb is just to send it over as a PDF. You should never use headers and footers on your resume. And we talked about that being true. All right. ATS reads Microsoft Word, MS Word, and Word as the same program. We of course know that's false. As we mentioned before, you want to make sure to write out completely any certifications that you have that you want to be recognized, because ATS doesn't understand what Word is or what MS Words is. You want to have the entire thing written out in full. The career objective section on a resume is a waste of space, and we kind of talked about that being true. It's just kind of taking up extra room, and obviously this is something that if you want to put why you applied for this job or what your objectives are, your cover letter is a really good place to put that information. Then that way you're not cluttering your resume, and you only have you want to make sure that your resume is clean, easy to read. In the career section is not something that's totally applicable this day and age. Which formats for the date of employment is correct? We talked about making sure that it's not completely written out, just doing the very simple format numerically. So you want to write out the full year, and then making sure that if if it's like February, which saying it's like, oh, do you want to make sure you put the O2 in front of that instead of just 2012 like B is doing. So A is the correct format to use when you're doing your dates of employment. So just wanted to take a quick pause and remind you about our PRC Job Assistance Program. So if you're not currently a client, but you kind of looked at this workshop and said, hey, this is great information, or hey, woof, it's a lot of information, I could really use some support. We have, Charles is one of our great job coaches, but we also have a team of job coaches that are all just as great. So we have space available for new clients. So if you're interested, a couple ways to become a PRC client. The first one is you can contact the 630 number at the top, extension, we would say it's the 333 number, so extension 333. You can call that number, leave a voicemail, and one of our administrative assistants will call you back usually within 24 to 48 hours to do just a kind of quick interest form with you, and then they would get you set up with one of our orientations. Our orientations are twice per month. Right now they're virtual, so they're really easy to kind of join and be a part of. Our orientations, when our buildings open up to clients, our orientations will probably resume in some hybrid formats. So we'll have both a virtual and in-person orientation. If you like to go out and meet people in person, as I do, I can't wait till we get back to in-person stuff. There'll be a couple different options for you.
Paul, what is the cost of that to get a coach?
Oh, great. The cost is completely free. So PRC does not charge our clients anything to utilize our services. So, and one thing to note, if you kind of go and look online and you look at those career services and having a job coach, those can be really expensive. And we offer this service for free. And I'm confident to say that we're just as good, if not better, than some of the services that you might pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for. So. And our coaches can help you with a variety of different things. If it's just simple as like, hey, I just need help learning how to apply for jobs online. I'm kind of new to the job search and kind of just need to kind of refresh myself and figure out how to apply for a job in 2021. We can work with you on how to apply for jobs. We can give you coaching on interviewing techniques. We can do mock interviews with you. We can a lot of the interviews ask you the same questions, especially the beginning ones that tell me about yourself, tell me about your experiments, tell me about the time you've had trouble working with a coworker and how did you solve that issue. These are questions that are asked in almost every interview, and we can kind of walk you through how to properly answer those. If you have an old resume or cover letter that you want to get updated, and if you want somebody to look it over and kind of tweak it so it kind of matches some keywords that are commonly found in applicant tracking systems, we have a really great resume and cover letter team that are experts in looking over and fixing your resume. So that's also a really great tool to use. And as I mentioned before, we have a really great program on helping you build your skills and abilities and learning what they are and how those can apply to whatever career or industry that you're interested in. We do that through these different PRC workshops. We also have those skills assessment tests that I talked about that are also free. So you can kind of go in, you can take some skills or take some tests on some different industries or careers that you're interested in. And they'll, once you complete those tests, it'll kind of give you this, they'll give you the results. You can kind of see, hey, I have a lot of skills. I'd be really good in this industry, or, hey, I have some skills, but I might need to get certified in this, or, brush up on my computer skills in this particular area in order to get a job in this specific career I'm interested in. So these are really great tools for you to kind of see just how job ready you are. If you're not one to call and leave voicemails, we can also apply for the job assistance program online. So you just go to peoplesrc.org, go under services, which is in the top left-hand corner. You can see job assistance. So if you click on that, that'll bring you to the job assistance main webpage. There's a lot of information there, but if you go to how to get started, it'll give you that number again. But you can also, there's a little, in the square you'll see, click here. And what that'll do is it'll take you to a Google form, which is basically our interest form. It takes about 2-3 minutes to fill out. You fill out your name, number, why you're interested in becoming a PRC client. That'll go to our administrative team, and they'll give you a call back and set you up for our next orientation. So it's really simple, really easy, and again, free of charge. So if you're not a PRC client, I would highly, highly encourage you to do so. It's a great service. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the director. I think it's a great service regardless. So. So as we're wrapping up, we wanted to kind of take the opportunity to answer any questions that anybody might have about this presentation. Feel free to unmute yourself. Feel free, and you can ask away, or if you're comfortable, you can also put it in the chat as well. So, any questions at all?
Hi, this is Pam. This time
Hi,
I'm officially talking instead of talking over you. I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay.
This has been awesome, and I'm thrilled that it's no charge. I was wondering, and I'm sorry if you covered it, but when you talked about no headers, what about the second page of the resume? Is there, I've been using a header just to indicate that, but do you just not that?
No, you don't want them on the first page, second page, or fifth page. No, you don't want it. The computer, it could possibly go through, but why risk it? The header may get corrupted. You don't know what will happen to your resume. The safe thing is skip headers and footers, lines, underlining things, skip that, because according to the experts, and I'm not an expert, according to the experts, a lot of the ATS systems, and there's a lot of them out there. There's not one brand of ATS. There's a lot of systems out there. A lot of them have trouble reading the lines, and they corrupt the thing. And you don't want your whole resume reworded by the computer because of a line. So skip it on the second page.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even if it,
Mhm.
yeah, and even if it like gets through the ATS system, like it might, sometimes there's like these formatting issues too. So like, you could have all the keywords, you could get past the ATS system, but when the HR person opens it up, the footer might, look off, or it might look strange. And yeah, as Charles said, it's probably just better to avoid doing it.
Okay. What about on the second page, like I'm saying, professional experience continued or something? Should I not even do that? Should I just continue as if it were one page?
I would. I mean, you could actually probably put you could put like professional experience continued, but you could just have that as a separate line and not necessarily put that as like a header.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need it. Keep in mind that a lot of times, certainly if you're emailing a resume, it's an electronic document. They'll just scroll over. You don't need a heading again up at the top of there.
Makes perfect sense. I am thrilled with this. Thank you. I'll probably go online as soon as we get off of this.
Great.
Your site. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Now, what is the qualification, Paul? Who can sign up and for PRC?
Anybody. I mean, the only really restriction is you have to be a resident of DuPage County.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't want to see your income tax returns.
Yep.
We don't want any, do you live in DuPage County? That's what Paul just said, and I'm just restating it. That's it. We don't care if you're 2 years old or 100 years old. Makes no difference.
Yep.
Really glad to hear that too.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. We have clients, I'm starting to see some clients that are like fresh out of college. I just need help finding a job. Like we have clients from, all different backgrounds, experiences, ages. It's really an eclectic group, and it's really great to, we have the ability to help everybody, which is really great. And Charles has had, Charles, you shared one of your success stories. We've had some really great success stories. I feel like June alone, we've placed some people in some really great positions. So we love doing it, and it's really great to see a lot of success. And now is a good time. I mean, there are open positions galore, and it's not just entry level. I mean, there's a lot of entry level positions open right now, but I just read an article. There's something like 80% of people are looking to leave their role for a variety of different reasons. So, obviously, when they leave the role, there's going to be a lot of people looking for new jobs, but there's also going to be a lot of jobs out there. And I think there's going to be a lot of people looking for jobs that aren't doing the research like you all are doing, being on here, learning about the applicant tracking system, getting a job coach. So, I think this is something that's going to kind of give you a leg up,
Yeah, right. A final thought that I have is that don't wait until October when the federal extra money through the unemployment expires. You're going to be in competition with a heck of a lot of people. Not only that, if I was an employer and somebody applies for a job now, I'm going to say they have a good work ethic. They're not running the clock out on the additional unemployment. So that goes in your favor right now.
Yeah, and it's a job seekers market, so you have the ability to, there's a lot of negotiation. We do another great workshop on salary and job negotiations as well. But I'm seeing companies that are like offering sign-on bonuses, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, negotiating benefits on day one instead of waiting 30 days or 60 days. Like, this is a great time for job seekers right now, because companies really, as the economy is ramping back up, these companies need to fill these roles, because business is picking up, and if they don't have the staff or the people to make the company run, they need to make these jobs more attractive to quality candidates. And thanks, Pam, for those questions. And Pam, I'm going to leave my my email in the chat box. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'll put that in there.
Thank you. Thank you. This is just really eye-opening, and it's answering a lot of questions as to why I'm not getting much traction. And if I can, I'm sorry, I know this is a forum, or there are other people, but I had applied for a position a few days ago, and the hiring manager actually took the time to write back and said, take another look at your resume and your cover letter. You want to avoid cliches. She said some really nice things like, I can see your personality coming through, blah, 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 but look at it from I was like, oh my God, talk about above and beyond. Thank you so much.
Wow,
I was already signed up for this, and I told her I would have something to her by the end of the week. So I may have to push that off a little, but I couldn't believe she took the time to do that. And now to have this reinforce everything, I can't wait to get back to it.
Wow, I've never heard that. That's great that
I know
somebody took the time to do that.
I know,
so,
it was amazing.
But yeah, not to sell my program again, but our resume and cover letter team is really great. So if and I think that's like the hardest thing about like the job search is like, you never know if there's like something specific on your resume or cover letter that's either not getting through the applicant tracking system, or people are reading and saying, oh, this is sort of the deal breaker here. So I think it's really great to have access to somebody that's got a lot of experience in doing resumes and cover letters. So
Absolutely.
no, that's great. Yeah, we could definitely help you with that.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
We had one online. It's ONET online. I just sent it. Everybody should have gotten it. And that is, again, that government website I mentioned that has no cost attached to it. And we'll give you a lot of skills and tell you what the job is. If you don't know, if you want to be a business analyst, for example, like, oh, it sounds interesting. Well, read the report. You'll get 20 pages or 10 to 20 pages of information, real information about that job. So anyway, I reposted that. Oh, it's the letter O, netonline.org.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things on that website. You can get lost in there for hours, in a good way.
Okay. Okay, and I'm still coming over for a shirt.
Catherine, is that a question for us? Sorry.
Hold on a moment.
Might not be. Okay. Well, if nothing else, really appreciate everybody kind of jumping on today, and want to just obviously thank Charles for everything that he's been doing. I feel like he's a vast resource of lots of knowledge and skills. So we obviously really appreciate you coming in. Oh, I'm sorry, we do have one more question. When is the LinkedIn class? You know what? That's a good question. You guys want to give me a minute? I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go pull up my calendar, and I can let you know when the next LinkedIn class is. One second. I know we have a
Monday,
bunch
July 12th.
Okay. And is that with, which library is that with?
Sounds good.
That one is with Wooddale.
Wooddale, oh yeah,
That's
okay.
an evening one, 7 to
Yeah.
8.
All right, then I'll be on the lookout for it. You'll be
Okay.
over soon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chris,
so if,
Okay, thanks.
yeah,
Okay.
if you're a PRC client, Chris will send you out the workshops. If not, if you just go to the Wooddale Public Library website, you should be able to register for it on there.
Paul, you said you were gonna put your email address on there too, right?
Yep, I just put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you should be able to see it. So if you have
Oh,
trouble
there.
registering, just reach out to me and I can, walk you through it over the phone. But usually, like if you put in if you put in the interest form, I have 2 administrative assistants that basically check the phone lines every other day. So I say they're usually really good with getting back to people within 24, 48 hours. And I think our next orientation is not this week, or not next week, but the week after on Tuesday. So.
Thank you.
But like, if you feel like you're in like a pinch or something and you need something sooner, you can just let the administrative assistant know. Like sometimes if, there's clients that have like an interview or something coming up, or they need to get back to somebody, I can usually do an orientation over the phone and try to get somebody assigned a job coach a little bit quicker. So just let them know what your needs are.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure. Well, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. I don't think there's any more questions. Yep.
thank you all for coming. I
Yeah,
know I can't
thanks.
see you, but I know you're there.
Yep. Thanks everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thanks
Thanks
so
again,
much.
Charles.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.